Okay, well, everyone, today I promised we would talk about the content multiplier formula. Okay, it's been a little while. It's been a little while since we have talked content multiplier. And the idea behind the content multiplier can seem a little bit overwhelming, okay? And the reason why is because when you really break it down, it kind of gives you this feeling that you've got to be spinning about 20 plates all at once and successfully in order to have a good presence online and to be able to get clients online. But that's not really the truth of the matter. Now, a lot of the people who navigate and do content multiplier from beginning to end seamlessly, typically they have a team of people doing it, okay? So it's not just them, or it's not just me, it's not just you sitting behind a computer trying to make life happen and attempting to have both time freedom and money freedom, but at the same time trying to run all these platforms and driving ourselves insane. So the way that I like to utilize the content multiplier formula is in a conversation with somebody who's wanting to get started, and we're trying to discover the different ways that they can bring in clients, because not all of us love and enjoy the same things. So when I first started my Young Living business, I thought for sure I was going to be the next Young Living YouTube star, or the first one, because it was a long time ago. And I was so in love with video, and I really enjoyed watching YouTube, and this seemed as though it made a lot of sense for me to kind of like break out on YouTube. But here was the problem, you guys. I don't like doing hair and makeup and a light kit and all of this other stuff every day. It turns out that that is just not my thing. And at this point in the evolution of YouTube, having a certain amount of makeup and hair done, sort of a thing, was kind of the norm if you were going to be seen as being an expert. Like, being an expert in your pajamas was not really a thing yet, you know? And so I discovered, much to my chagrin, that I didn't want to be the next Young Living YouTube star because I didn't want to work that hard. I'm like, I love video, but my life as a single parent just wasn't conducive to trying to do all of that. So I did a challenge, and part of this challenge was finding a way to publish. And they said in the challenge, listen, if you don't know what your voice is, if you're not sure, or if you think you know, but you're not used to consistency, find one platform that you want to publish on every single day for a year. And even if you don't, you don't like hit it big and become the next big star, you're going to understand better what your voice is, what you love, what you can talk about easier, and things like that. You're going to gain some invaluable skills if you just choose one platform and publish every single day. You're also going to gain the skills that you need to produce content quickly. So I did. And ultimately, that is how I discovered Clubhouse. Okay. Because what I realized is that even though I didn't want to get up and sit still in front of a camera every single day, I was totally fine popping my voice onto a Clubhouse, and that became my platform, and now 3 years in, my 1-year experiment is still going. So what does that have to do with the content multiplier? Well, that's a really good question, because let me tell you that as of this point right now, I do not do it well, but I want to. So it's going on the list. It's going on the someday list, okay? And starting this morning, as I said yesterday, Thursday mornings are now, I'm going to take 2 hours, And I am going to dedicate 2 hours every Thursday to doing things like downloading our Clubhouse replays and putting them onto a public shareable link so that we can all have access to them. And just doing more things that will multiply this content. So what does a content multiplier look like? Pretty much, this is the ultimate grouping. On Winning the Week, we talk about, what can we group together, right? And what can we automate? And so this is where grouping meets automation meets social media. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that during my 2 hours on Thursday mornings, I download this Clubhouse, okay? This Clubhouse being live is one form of content. It's live voice content. So I download it and I head over to rev.com and I get the transcription. And I take that transcription and now I can just pop it into AI, right? Or if you hire someone via Upwork, or if you decide that you want to use your own brain ball, you're going to sit down and you're going to form the transcript into a blog. So now you have a blog post from the content that you produced on Clubhouse. So you take that blog and you go through and you turn it into some good bullet points. And on a Wednesday, because I've got Wednesday wisdom anyway, so my hair and makeup are already done, I sit down and I shoot a YouTube video based upon the bullet points that came from the transcript that I got from the Clubhouse. So now it's 3, right? So now I've got the Clubhouse voice, I have a YouTube video, and now I have a blog. So I can take that YouTube video and watch it, and I can cut out small, short little segments from that YouTube video. And from those small, short little segments, I can create reels and I can create TikToks. So now I've got the Clubhouse, the blog, the long form YouTube video, and a whole bunch of shorts. And that could be YouTube shorts as well. So we're talking YouTube shorts, reels, and TikToks. So now we're up to 6 different forms of content from one Clubhouse. And then the next thing that you can do is grab that transcript again and pull some quote squares out of it. Pull some quotes out of it that you can turn into beautiful visioned graphic images that are stunning, that are photos of you, or maybe photos of a beautiful field with your words on top. Or, maybe you're going to go very simple and you're going to go into Canva and you're just going to, grab a template you like, and that's how you're going to make your quote squares, right? So now you have a bunch of quote squares. So out of one Clubhouse, essentially you can have 20 pieces of content if you count each individual quote square, but definitely 8 different forms of media that you can multiply from one item that you do. Now, here's the interesting part. The interesting part is this. Oh, by the way, you can take it one step further as well. And if you are regularly producing your blog, you can take the best, most well-received blog posts and you can actually turn those into a booklet, or you can turn them into a book. So you can even have a more solid form of content from all of the things that you're doing. But here's the fun part. The fun part is that you kind of get to decide where your toe goes into the water, okay? Because not all of us are excited about every form of social media. For example, I love video. I know you guys would probably laugh at me going, you had a problem with YouTube videos? Yes, I had a problem trying to produce daily YouTube videos. It's true. And it really doesn't have anything to do with not liking YouTube. It just has to do with the fact that I like to have makeup on in my hair. And you don't have to, okay? You don't have to have makeup on your face while to produce a YouTube video, for goodness sake. But, sometimes we have our vanity, right? And I am not immune. So that having been said, so we have, you get to decide where you want to stick your toe in the water. So let's say that voice is going to be your thing. Okay, that's where you're going to start. So you grab a Clubhouse and that's what you start producing first. Okay. Or let's say that reels are your thing. And so producing short live reels or edited reels is where you're going to start. So you're going to pull some of those together and you can create a YouTube video that is a compilation of reels. I see it all the time. Short. So when you want to talk about trends, long form videos were the thing for a while. And then everybody got obsessed with short little videos. Okay. They wanted to see your TikTok. They wanted to see your reel. When Vine, back when Vine was a thing, we were talking about 7-second videos, you guys. And then that doubled and it grew to a 14-second video. So it was amazing how much information people were packing into 14 seconds. Absolutely mind blowing. But again, the trend is turning back around once more, and long form videos are trending once more. So what do you see happening? You're seeing these people that gained a lot of clout in reels doing little compilations of their reels to make them into a longer form video that people will watch, and people are watching them. It's getting eyeballs on your stuff, right? So let's say you want to start with reels and you take your reels and you turn them into compilation videos. There may be some good stuff in there that you can transcribe and turn into a blog post. Reels are really good at being able to produce some really awesome quotes. Okay. So you're still going to get your quote squares, and you can take your quote squares. Like, let's say that you're still not sure what to write your blog on because all you did was a bunch of reels, and it's not forming into one solid thought. Well, guess what? You can grab the idea of your reel and then sit down and turn it into a blog post by going, okay, I made this reel about how difficult it can be sometimes to get up and get motivated to go to church on a Sunday, right? That's what you said in your reel. So now you're going to grab that idea and you're just going to sit on your back porch and you're going to muse about it for a little bit and turn that into a blog post. There are ways that you can take and turn your content so that you can be aware and alive on so many other platforms. And that it can be challenging because you do need to have a good calendar in order to make it happen. You've got to have some good discipline in order to make it happen. For me, it is always easier when I'm forming a new habit, like multiplying my content. It is always easier for me to have a day like Thursday morning is my content multiplier morning, right? Or something like that. I need to have something like that that is steady and regular, that I can kind of count on sitting down and doing that content, because it can take a lot of time. I will say though that depending upon your budget, hiring people on Upwork or whatever to create quote squares for you from a transcript is relatively cheap, so long as you're not too picky about what the quote squares look like. So let's say that you go into Canva and you find a template that you like, and then you go into Upwork and you're like, I just want to find somebody who will take my transcript and turn it into a blog post. I'm sure you could probably find somebody who would do that for like $10, $5. Why? Why do I say that? Because it's very easy work. It's a little bit tedious, but it's pretty darn easy. And yeah, it's just not difficult to find somebody who is going to do it. There's lots of people that work for about $10 an hour or so on Upwork. And so let's say that it takes them an hour to produce all those quote squares. Well, from one transcript, they could probably produce almost a month's worth of quote squares for you. And for 10 or $20, I mean, that's a huge time savings. And now you have one quote square going out every day for a month. Go ahead, Kathy.
Oh, my bad. Hi.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Okay, keep going.
So, I did want to just remind you guys that that sort of thing exists, but also emphasize the fact that you don't have to do it all. Okay. I was really excited about the content multiplier when I first saw it because I was like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I'm going to do it all. I'm going to have you know, I'm going to have the best blog and the best YouTube channel, and it's all going to go swimmingly. And let me tell you, that is when I realized that people that do it all, they either don't have a life or they have a team. So just keep that in mind. Now, something that's really interesting though, and you can do this too, is some people are much better at creating quote squares than others. Other people are much better, have the skill or whatever, to be able to take a long form YouTube video and cut it down into reels. Some people are really good at taking a transcript and turning it into a blog post. So if you can make friends with those people and you guys swap each other's content, sometimes that really helps too. So it's like if you are the transcript into blog queen, but you don't want to go through your long form video and cut out some reels, lock arms with someone, okay? Sometimes that can really help. And I actually did have that for a little while, and trust me, it really helped. Um, Something else too that you can do is or that you need to be aware of is that if you are going to take your long form YouTube video and cut it into a reel, start getting really good at staying in the middle of your frame, okay? Not all long form videos can be turned into a reel because they're not shot the same direction, right? Like if you're sitting down and you're making something for YouTube, you're going to have a horizontal video. Whereas for whatever reason, reels are up and down. They're two different shapes. And I think it's just because with like a reel or a TikTok, the idea is that you can thumb through them rather fast. YouTube Shorts as well is up and down. So if that's your desire when you're shooting your YouTube video, just make sure that you are staying somewhere towards the middle of the frame. Now, what is nice though is that I have to say, if you are editing a long form video to be a reel, there are some really nice tools that have come out that make it a little bit easy for you to do that. So you can use like an AI tracker that will actually track your face from one side of the frame to the other and will actually move like let's say for example Terry spoke at convention last year, right? And all of the shots of Terry at convention last year, they were all shot horizontally. Nobody got shots up and down, which wasn't, I was like, oh man, if I had to do that again, I would have one device that was horizontal and I would have another device that was up and down and I would just track her. Okay. I wasn't thinking about it then last year for some reason. I just wanted to get the vertical or the horizontal, and that's what I got. Because in my head, I was like, I can edit this. She's just one person on the stage, so I can edit this into a reel. Well, guess what? It is very hard when somebody is walking full frame from left to right to edit the reel in a way that she stays in the frame. And this is how I discovered that there is a face tracking option now, thank goodness. So if you are shooting your long form video horizontally and you're moving around in the frame, like lean into some of those tools that will kind of move the frame with you. Otherwise, you have to edit that sucker frame by frame. And let me tell you, it takes forever. Um, I just did a tutorial video for the sew shop, and that thing took me 3.5 hours. I could not believe how long it took. And that was because this was the first time that I was trying, like, I want this arrow to pop up right here and explain this stitch, and then I want an arrow to pop up over here and to do that. So I had a lot of animation in this reel, and it just took forever. But now that I did it once, you do get faster. I would say, though, that choosing a platform and then publishing on that platform daily will really teach you a lot. And again, even if it doesn't equate to you being a standout superstar on a social media platform, you will just learn so much. And it will help you in so many different ways. I feel like this group has been my alarm clock, and it has reminded me of marketing ideas, and we've shared so much on here. I've learned so much. Honestly, it would be hard to picture weekly life without the clubhouse first thing in the morning. So
So I have a question about the pip on the platform. So what you would take something, the reels, or if you're doing still shots, say on Canva, then you're saying to pick a platform like Get Oiling. Can we utilize that, or do we utilize Opal, or do we use a lot? You have to pay for a platform.
no, when I say pick a platform, I mean like on Get Oiling, it's a blog, right?
Mm-hmm.
So choose blogging, or choose Reels, or choose TikTok, or
Okay,
choose
choose
Facebook
one category
skills. Yeah.
out of the 6. Don't try and spread yourself thin on every single thing. Pick one.
Well, so what I mean is that if you're not really used to it, choose one that you publish to all the time and then grow from there, and choose your favorite one. It really should be one that you're excited about, that you interact with often. That's the one that you want to choose. So for me, I thought I wanted to choose YouTube, and then when I started it, I was like, this is not my platform. This is not, you should have one kind of anchor platform that is the place that you do the most, and then grow from there. Because let me tell you, if you choose a challenging platform as like your toe into consistent posting in social media, you will dread it. And your head will do the thing where, yeah, that might be the most important thing you have to do that day, but that will also not be the thing that you're doing that day.
So, what do you do for Terry? What is her platform, and what are you doing with the work of the videos? That's totally different. The book that you're making and the video and all that.
Mhm.
But what is her personality? What does she like to present on?
So for her, and it makes sense because of um, her age group and all of that, Facebook is her jam.
Okay.
And so what you'll see on Terry at royaldreamteam.com is you're going to see a mixture of still images, and you're going to see a mixture of reels that go on there. So naturally, Terry is a very visual person, which is why I'm surprised that she is not on Instagram more. I feel like Instagram would more appeal to her personality, but she loves the dynamics that exist on Facebook. So that's her platform.
Okay. So the Instagram though went from the still photos and now they incorporate reel, but they don't incorporate TikTok, correct?
Well, Reels and TikToks are kind of the same thing.
I know, but some people. Okay. So Instagram does use TikTok. I thought there was a time there when they
No,
did.
Instagram uses Reels.
Okay.
TikTok is its own platform. So
Right.
both Facebook and Instagram have Reels.
Got it. But Instagram doesn't want to take from TikTok. You're not allowed to take your TikTok reel and put it on Instagram, correct?
You can.
Oh, okay.
But so what ended up okay, so I think I understand what you're saying. In the beginning, you could actually download your you could download your, like, you could go to TikTok and you could make a TikTok and you could download that TikTok to your phone, and the TikTok would download in its entirety, like the songs, the music, the audio, everything. And so it was very easy. When you made a short, it was very easy to just download it. And you could make it from Instagram and download it to your phone and just zoop over to TikTok and upload it to TikTok. It was so easy and seamless. But then there were copyright problems that kind of stepped in. And honestly, I just think that for whatever reason, these platforms just didn't want you multi-posting across platforms. And what entered into the space is that unless that was your original sound, as in your voice talking, you could not do your TikTok and then download it fully formed and go to Instagram and upload it to Instagram anymore. And if you downloaded your short form video from Instagram to your cell phone, it would download. And again, it's like you would not have the audio that was associated with it. And so it's a little bit harder to bounce back and forth between the platforms. However, if you use CapCut, so like if Reels is going to be your thing, or TikTok or whatever, but you want that short form video and you want it over multiple platforms. So you want the same video on TikTok that you have on Instagram Reels, that you have on Facebook Reels, and those two will share between each other. You know, they own one another and now they're friends. So, or you can do YouTube Shorts. So all of those places where these little short videos can go, if you use CapCut and the song or the background music, if you're choosing to have some, is commercial, and CapCut does have the option for you to tap the commercial sounds button, it will download with the sound intact. And when you upload it onto all of these platforms, it's just a heck of a lot easier. Now the downside is, though, like for example, I had the dumbest thing happen the other day. I made a reel of the rooster kind of like annoying Emma as Emma was out with the horses. Okay, so Emma's walking around with the horses, and you have this rooster like kind of like squaring up with her. It was kind of funny. So the song that I chose was actually a commercial song, okay, because it's monetized. And it was the chicken dance of all odd things. The chicken dance song just happened to be sitting in that commercial space. So I throw it onto the reel and I post it, and, you know, the rest is history. Well, then I still got a copyright claim against that audio. And I'm not sure why, because it was a commercial audio. And so now if you listen to that reel, it's muted. So it's less fun. Nobody listens to reels without sounds. Not for any length of time, anyway. So that's kind of funny how that happened. But I think that that's what you mean by, you know, like you
Yep,
can't download a TikTok and then go over to Instagram. It's like you can
you
if it's your
can, but
original audio.
consequences.
Yeah, yeah. But if it's just your voice, or if it's your original song, then you won't have a problem. Or if you're using CapCut and you just use like a commercial sound, you won't have a problem there either.
Yeah, what I like to do is use the commercial sound, and then I will download the video in the editing process so that it doesn't stamp the little stamp of whatever social media form. I like to make mine on Instagram. So I'll make my reel on Instagram and I download it before I have posted it, because if you download it after you've posted it, what they're going to do is they're going to put their stamp on there with you keeping the audio, or they're going to remove the audio and still have that stamp on there. So if I don't want it to say Instagram and I want it to look like a fresh thing, you know, a fresh post, then I will move over to Facebook just with the one that I downloaded, and I will look up the same audio and find the same spot using that same commercial audio that they have over in the in the music folder on that platform, and I'll re-upload it, but it's already created. So all I had to do is upload the thing in there and add the music to it. Sometimes you have to add the text too if the text didn't, if you want different text, if you downloaded it before your text. But I have found that process has worked for me to bring it over and not have to deal with the copyright and all that stuff and like the stamps.
Yes. Well, and here's something too about the stamps. Like, Um, if you're going to create an Instagram and you download it, and it's after you've posted, so it's going to have a little stamp on there. TikTok will also, TikTok will end with their epic TikTok screen, right? That everybody sees. Sometimes those will actually work to your benefit. Because when you download it and it has a stamp on there and then you upload it over onto Facebook, now the people on Facebook know that you have an Instagram and they can go follow you on that platform too. And that works with TikTok as well. Like that ending TikTok screen has now become like such a part of culture. It's one of those noises, like the Sega noise was to our generation. Like you hear these little sounds, these little things that are just really iconic and very cultural. Well, the TikTok end screen is one of those.
That's actually very valid. That's true. I actually did that on purpose once or twice for exposure. And I was like, wait, I want them to know I have an Instagram. So that's a very valid point.
Yes. Yeah. So, so it is kind of nice. However, I will say that, people are very much in love with the platform that they enjoy. So to have somebody who really enjoys Facebook Reels also really enjoy TikToks to the same level, you're not necessarily going to find that. But I will tell you that what happens often, so, I am a Facebook Reels person, okay? That's just the age I am. And I feel like you kind of stick with the platform that you enter in on, right? So it's like if Facebook was your first platform, it will kind of always be the one you love. And if Instagram was your first platform, same with that platform, okay? So as I entered into the TikTok space, I only did it because of the kids, right? Like the kids had TikTok, they kept trying to share TikToks with me and I couldn't see them and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, forget it, I'll get a TikTok. But I will say this, if I get, I will forget TikTok even exists. And I do not go to my phone and just open up the TikTok app because it's just, I would rather watch a Facebook reel. It's just the way it is. But if I get a shared TikTok video from my kids or my mom really likes TikTok, which I think is funny. I will end up scrolling on that platform also. And every once in a while, if I have a creator that I really enjoy seeing their stuff and I haven't seen their stuff on Facebook in a while, I will actually click over to TikTok to see if they've posted on that platform. So it is kind of interesting because if you do know that some of your favorites are across multiple platforms, sometimes your faves will be posting in TikTok more than they'll be posting on Facebook, and Facebook is their afterthought. So when they post a few of those that have that little TikTok tag on it, I'll jump over to TikTok and see what they're up to on that platform. People may do the same for you. There we go, Trevin. I just sent you a speaker invite. So it is a lot easier now to go across platforms. And I know that sometimes when I'm talking about, as we're talking about the content multiplier, right? It's like having a blog right now almost sounds antiquated. Like, who does blogs anymore? Like, mommy bloggers were huge back in the day, and now, they're not as big. But let me tell you, things circle around. Short form video was all the rage. Now it's gone back to long form video. Vulnerability videos were huge. Now that's almost a toxic culture at the moment. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. So at the end of the day, when it comes to getting started and regularly posting on social media, you are going to do yourself a favor if you start with a social media platform that you really enjoy, that you can see yourself posting in. And you're a regular part of the community. Being a regular part of the community that you're posting in can really also teach you a lot because you know what those people will like and you know what they won't like. Instagram used to be the land of the quote square. So when I say, hey, post some quote squares, you might be like, so what is this, 4 or 5 years ago? Like Instagram doesn't do quote squares anymore. Oh, yes, they do. There are people out there that love themselves a good quote square. And there may come a time when quote squares are what people are looking at. The same thing goes for the Facebook business page, right? Facebook business pages came out. Every business had one. They were actually treated almost with the same level of respect as a website. And then all of a sudden, Facebook business pages kind of went away. They were no longer, Facebook was not pumping them up in the algorithm the way that they were when they first came out, right? But if you stuck with your Facebook business page, guess what? You are reaping those benefits because they're back on top again. Facebook business pages went away and they came back. So if you stick with platforms that you love to be a part of, and you are creating good content that your followers like and that you like to produce, you will outdo the Facebook algorithm every time. And I say the same thing about email when it's like, hey, Bev, how do I get eyeballs on my videos? Yes, you can run around. If all you're looking for is views, you can run around and do the most ridiculous things on your platforms and they will get views. Okay. If you punch a hole through your wall, or one of my most viewed videos was when I created the beet juice and then I knocked the beet juice jug onto the floor. It was a total accident and it looked like I had murdered a small animal in my kitchen. Honest to goodness, one of the most viewed things that I created. But at the end of the day, I know that we are not here to get views. Views is a vanity metric. It makes you feel good because there's a lot of people seeing your stuff, and that might make you really happy. It does me, like, if you are creating joy for people, like that does actually make me happy. But guess what? It doesn't do. It doesn't necessarily put money in my pocket, because ultimately, at the end of the day, we are existing in social media to help people and to sell products. So if the stuff that you're creating isn't selling the product, if it's not putting money in your pocket, then at the end of the day, you are just having fun on some social media. And that may not be your intention. So keep creating things that people want to watch. And I'm going to say, keep creating things that you love and that your people like to watch. Because not everyone likes to watch everything. There are people out there that don't care how your sourdough starter is doing, whereas there are other people out there who have literally been trolling your page waiting for your last sourdough starter update. It's the absolute truth. Go ahead, Christine.
First off, my search thing in Instagram is full of quote squares because apparently I love them. I want to throw that out there. And
See?
then, yeah, exactly. I was cracking up when you said that. And secondly, so you've got a lot of really great gold nuggets in here today again. And I am curious, and I would like to pick your brain maybe on a future Clubhouse, because I know tomorrow's Friday, and then we start a new week next week, about how to know your audience specifically, like how to know your audience and then how to grow your audience. Because what you're saying is so good, and it keeps I keep hearing some other influencers out there talking about how to know your audience, how to grow your audience. You have to know your audience and know how to serve them and what they like. And I'm trying to figure that out. And I would love to just pick your brain and see like what you would have to say about things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that next week for sure, because you're right. If you don't know who you're creating for, then how do you know what to create? And I would say there's a few things out there that you can do to kind of realize who you appeal to. What's funny is that sometimes who you think you're appealing to and then who actually appeals to you turn out to be two different people. And it's really kind of funny that way. But what's nice is that because selling products is the goal, you can look onto the list, go into your back office and look at your customer list and start going through there and seeing what they all have in common. Chances are 80% of the people who have purchased from you have something in common. Usually, that's going to be a similar age range. It's going to be a similar season of life. If you have kids, chances are 80% of your people have kids. If you're a spouse, chances are 80% of your people are spouses. It's kind of funny that way, but people love to relate to people who are truly like them, or they love to relate to people who are vastly different from who they are, right? Like, oh my gosh, they're so different than the way that I think, I would do life. It's shocking, right? So that's kind of that entertainment factor. But take some time, maybe over the weekend, dig into your customer list and pick them apart a little bit. What do they have in common? Where did you meet? Um, did you meet the customers mostly online, or are they meeting you mostly on person? I know, Christine, you were saying that a lot of your customers really like to do business with you on Facebook Messenger. So you don't often have their cell phone number. You're not really texting them. Usually all of that interaction happens on Messenger. And I find that really interesting, So then the question becomes, so what can you do on Messenger? And Facebook is now allowing some of these ads to actually be Messenger ads. And I'm finding that intriguing because the last time I was in my Meta Business Suite and I was setting up an advertisement, the suggestion to make it a Messenger ad popped up for me for the first time. I'd never really noticed it before. It's probably been there for months. It just hadn't caught my attention. And what I find interesting about that is that I have never received a Messenger ad from anybody. Has anyone right now who is in Clubhouse, have you guys ever received an ad? Like not, some annoying high school friend who's like, "Hey, I haven't talked to you in 15 years. Would you like to hear about my business opportunity?" But like, have you had an ad drop into your Messenger?
I have. I personally have.
You have? And what product was that? Or was
It,
it an
I
individual
can't.
advertising to you?
No, no. So it's mine was on Instagram, right? And I noticed that LinkedIn it doesn't necessarily drop in, but on LinkedIn, a lot of the times at the top, it'll have. I guess it's more personal though. I guess people are more so promoting themselves or sponsoring, I should say.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I know that on LinkedIn Messenger, there's always somebody or something at the top promoting. But on Instagram, for the first time, I forget what it. I forget what I was doing. Maybe my finger hit something, but I did get a chat pop up. Basically, it was kind of like a chat bot in a sense for a business. I'm
Interesting.
trying to think what business it was. I can't think off the top of my head, but yeah, I've experienced it, and it was the first time too. And I believe it probably was within the last 2 or 3 weeks. So it's very,
Yes.
very, yeah,
Yeah, the first
very
time I
recently.
saw it, for it to be an option for me to advertise this way, was last week. So I had never seen it before. So with Messenger being the way, excuse me, that Christine utilizes the most for her customers, it's possible that a Messenger ad may actually go a long way. But I know that when you enter into a new advertising platform like that, you do have to tread carefully because you don't want to get blocked by a lot of people. So if you are going to try out an ad in Messenger, it is going to have to be the most personalized ad you have ever written in your life. The person who receives that ad should honestly feel as though that advertisement is coming directly from you straight to them. Like the one-on-one level is going to have to be real. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself muted, if not blocked by that person. And it's going to be interesting, but they're coming, you guys. Like advertisements that pop up in Messenger are coming. And what I'll do is next week, I'll pop into the Meta Business Suite and I will actually do a Messenger ad and do a screen capture of it so that we can all see kind of how it works. We'll have to learn together on that one. And then I'll let you know how it performs. Like, if I end up getting blocked on Messenger by a bunch of people, then we'll know its time has not yet come. All right, everyone. Well, that is is Clubhouse for this morning. Tomorrow is going to be Open Mic Friday, so we will not necessarily talk business. We will talk anything under the sun that anybody wants to ask about or have questions on or whatever. That will be tomorrow. So have a fantastic Thursday.